that we adore you, and that our desire is to know you more. But God, may that be the true longing of our heart. May it be the passion of our life to push aside hindrances, to knock down anything that would stand in the way of knowing you more. Of truly saying with this verse that every moment I'm awake, every breath that I take, God, it's all for you. It's for your glory. Would you continue to reveal yourself to us, continue to take us deeper and deeper into your love, so that you can be glorified in every breath and in every moment. We love you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Amen. You may be seated.
Check, 1, 2. Is this working? Nice. How are you guys doing? Good?
How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Zach, for asking. Before I get started, I just wanted to call in happy birthday. And if you guys get a chance before you leave, just make sure you wish him a very, very happy birthday again. I love being here. I love the opportunity that I have to be able to be part of these series with Pastor Craig and with Scott. And but before I talk about the relationship builders and killers, which is what I'm going to be speaking on mainly to this morning, I want to take a moment to just kind of do a little bit of a plug for our student ministry. So most of you guys know that I lead our student ministry, which is called Impact Youth Group. And we meet every single Wednesday. We meet right here in the same location that we are in right now, 6 to 8 p.m. And it's a lot of fun. We have middle schoolers, high schoolers, it's 6th grade through 12th grade. And it's great. I love my job. I feel like I have one of the most rewarding jobs that there is because, not to brag a little bit, but I love our student ministry. I love the connections that we make. I'll explain some of my favorite things about it is how loving and accepting our group is. That when you come, regardless of your background, regardless of what you believe in or what you don't believe, or what, you know, if you're somewhere in the middle and you're just coming just to check it out, that you are loved, you are accepted right when you come. And there's some things about it that sometimes that are difficult. There's things about it sometimes that are draining, but I have the most rewarding job ever because I get the opportunity to see students that come that maybe are on the sidelines at first, that maybe come in and while we're playing games, they're just watching. While we're doing prayer time, might be trying, not to make eye contact. During worship, who might just be standing there. During message, just looking forward and trying to see that moment in time where they collide with Jesus, and you get to see lives radically transformed, that they're heading one direction and now they're heading the other, who, like I said, were on the sidelines one week, but then the next week are participating full-heartedly in worship, in prayer. We have students who were on the sidelines that used to just listen to the message, but now they go out and they share that message with others. And it's the most rewarding thing ever. It makes everything we do worth it, and it's awesome. And I just want to right now let you guys know that I don't do the student ministry on my own. What a train wreck that'd be if it was just me. I have a group of loving adult volunteers who come and invest their time every week. So I just want to take a moment and recognize some of those peeps that are here. In the back on the soundboard, we have Mr. Toller, who volunteers every week. You make us better. We couldn't do what we do without you. You are awesome. We got Scott, who's kind of our bridge between students and parents and making those connections. We got Harrison, who A lot of times, if we need to get the game rolling or get the game started, we just say, Harrison, jump in there. And he's kind of like a wild animal when it comes to dodgeball.
Yeah.
Just whipping those things. It doesn't matter if it's a 6th grader. He'll take them out. It doesn't matter. We got wait, where's Tabby?
She's in Kids Zone.
Skipping her this week. No, just kidding. We got Tabby. She was awesome. Who makes currently our only female sponsor that we have. Making those connections and investing into lives, and it's awesome. And I heard not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, we're going to have the epic Jeff White returning. And I already know the perfect song we're going to play when you walk in. The no. You know, and Jeff will walk in, but he told me not this Wednesday, next Wednesday, most likely, right? Yeah. Yes. And I love these guys. They come every week. They volunteer their time. They pour into and invest into these students. And you see lives being changed, not just temporary being changed, but the eternal change that comes with it. And every once in a while we dye Jeff White's hair pink, and it's great. Yes. So that's our adult team that we have. But we also have a student leadership team, which we call the core team. And that's our high school leadership team, which makes up about 10 students, and we meet every Thursday, and we kind of go over more leadership training and equipping them that way. But then what we do is we actually plug them in the very next week on Wednesday, and we have them help with the games. We have them help with like announcements and even the very setting up of the room. Our core team does. But they also lead our small groups that meet after the message. We call them tribes. And they ask the questions, they disciple the younger students and the other students, and it's really cool being able to see them use their gifts and plugged in right away and begin to invest into others. So I just want to take a moment and recognize those people because of how successful and how cool those core team leaders are. The middle schoolers actually asked me to start a middle school leadership team that we're going to be starting next school year. They want to call it middle core because the core team is the high school. They want to be middle core. I tried to tell them that's a really bad name, but then the other name they suggested was Middle Earth. So I said, you know what, middle core is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool name. We could do that. So middle core, possibly starting beginning of this next school year. So thank you guys for all the encouragement that you give. Thank you for all the prayers. I get message every once in a while, and just someone let me know that they're praying for our student ministry, and awesome. Thank you so much for that. Sincerely, you guys make us better, and it means a lot. So I love this picture. I'm going to be speaking for this series, Relationship Builders and Killers. There's certain things that we can do that build up and strengthen our relationships with each other and with God. And there's other things that are just toxic. They're poisonous. And when we do this, it decays and rots away and breaks and kills our relationships. So I wanted to start off with an illustration. So I'm going to, just to kind of get this point across really well, I have a trash can here, and I brought my tools. Josh the Builder, is that what I like to call it?
Yes.
Can I fix it? Probably not. But I'm going to use this illustration anyways. So, I'm going to be honest, I don't really build things very often with these things, but these are really mine. So I had this task that I wanted to do, and I'm going to save you guys a lot of time. The task was, there's this pointy metal piece, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to drive that through the wood and connect it to another piece of wood. So I went through these different tools, and all of these tools will basically work, but I'll just save you guys a lot of time. This tool right here, this hammer, is by far the best, right? So I tried the other tools. You can, drive a nail into a piece of wood with the other tools, but this one is best. For instance, I used this, which is called a screwdriver, and it didn't really get the job of nailing in that nail very well. If I use the hammer part and I try to hit it, it's such a small spot to hit, right? And if I flip it over this way, This works actually better, except it damages the end here. It's not hard enough, it's solid enough to really do anything. So how many of you guys have these just laying around in your drawer? Just throw it away. It is basically worthless. Just invest in one of these. I literally got this for $2.99. This is a much better tool. I have some other tools in here as well. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know who made this, but if you try to drive a nail in with this, it's easier just to use your face. This will work. You can use this. But why? This is a superior tool. Just throw that away, right? This thing is interesting. I don't actually know how this got in my toolbox, but it's not, I don't want to diss it, but it's awful. It's straight up, this is one of the worst things I've ever tried to use. I don't know why they think that this would be good at driving in a nail. It's not. So if you have one of those, throw it away. I think you guys get the point, but I'm fully committed to this illustration. So I have this right here. This is a 41-piece socket thing. Some of them, it has been open, and amazingly, I already lost a piece. Isn't that amazing? I used it once. Yeah, some of the pieces are way too small. It's not really, if you're gonna hammer in a nail, just use the whole case. But, like I said, why even do it? This is better. Just throw this away. Why do you need a whole entire toolbox if you just need one see, this tool is superior. Okay? You guys understand that? Yeah. So I was driving into church today, and Mr. Toller was driving really slow in front of me, and I saw in the back of your truck, you had this giant box that is just tools, right? Just get a hammer. Okay? Just get a hammer. The hammer drives a nail in better. The rest of these are basically worthless. Let me give you a quote up on the screen. You guys might know this. Einstein gets credit oftentimes for this, although I'm not sure if he ever said it, but either way, this is a good quote. It says, "Everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." Again, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it's going to live its whole life believing that it is stupid. The killer that I want to talk about today is something that is so devastating that it can really mess you up, ruin relationships between you and others or between you and God, is this killer of comparison. And the comparison that we're going to really be talking about is comparing yourself to others. Now, what we don't understand is, I think this is pretty simple, that you wouldn't compare, a screwdriver to a hammer. Like, that's pretty obvious. They obviously have different uses. They're designed differently. They both have different strengths and different weaknesses, right? Like, if you try to fix your TV, like if you're going to pull out and rewire, and you try to use a hammer, it's not going to work out super well. One, you shouldn't probably try to fix your TV anyways. If you're anything like me, you'll probably might as well use a hammer, I guess. But like I said, this comparison, comparing yourself to others, seems obvious, but we do it so often. There are 7.5 billion people living on this earth right now. 7.5 billion people, and yet there is only one you. There is only one you in existence. Out of all of those people, you are unique. You are handcrafted. It says in the Bible that you were knitted in your mother's womb. And not only you're the only you that there is right now in existence, but you're also the only you that there has ever been in existence. It's not like there's this assembly line of God making people. He says, you know what, we haven't used this model in a while. Let's just put this one back on. No, you're the only you ever. Ever. You are unique. You have different skills than other people. You have different talents. You have different personality. You have a different calling that God has placed on you. And oftentimes what we do is we compare what God has given us to what God has given someone else. One of the things that I wanted to put up on the board is actually the next slide. I just want to point this out right away. That comparison makes you feel either superior or inferior, and neither serves a useful purpose. That when we compare ourselves to other people, it makes us feel more than so-and-so or less than, and neither of those of those serve a purpose, but comparing doesn't honor God. When we feel superior than someone else, we're not honoring God. When we feel inferior, we're not honoring God. And it's so common and it's so easy for us to do this. It's so even if you just pull out your phone and you are start browsing Instagram or Facebook, and you begin seeing these people's lives, and it's so easy for us to say, how come they have this? How come they, if I had their job, if I had their income, if only I had their, talents or skills, man, well, look at me. I'm not. Or if we look at people and we say, why can't they figure this out? This is easy. Hammering nails is simple. Why can't they figure this out? We're comparing them based on what God has given us. We have totally different cards in our hands that we are judging based off of. When we compare ourselves to others, nothing good comes out of it. Actually, the fastest way to feel something special that God's doing in your life is by comparing it to someone else's life. When we compare ourselves, it's bad. And like I said, on Instagram or Facebook, there's studies coming out that is so common for us to go through and see what they post online as like a representation of like their life every day. But that's not true. People post online what they want people to see. They post the highlights of what's going on in their life. And a lot of those images are staged. Those pictures are, taken at just the right angle to be the most flattering to them. There's things that are cropped out of those images. On Instagram, you can just go through and find a good filter that makes you appear perfect, but yet we still fall for this. We go through and we say, oh man, look at how successful they are. Look, when they take a family picture, all of their kids are looking the right way and smiling. That's super amazing, actually. I have two girls, and there's always one that's like, ooh, look, something over there.
Yeah.
And, right now, Grace loves the camera, but now it's Emily, so they switched. But it's so easy for us to look at other people and feel less than by comparing their cards with ours. When we compare someone else's highlight reel to our behind the scenes, one, it's not a real, it's not real, right? When we go through, and this is, I think social media has definitely amplified this problem, but where you're standing in line, even at a checkout, or you're just scrolling through your newsfeed and you see these people just with the perfect body, right? You see these perfect, and what that does is when in comparison to you, it just makes you feel less than. But those are artificial standards. Like even the people in those pictures, that's not really them. Some of that's airbrush, some of that's, Photoshop, some of that's, but we oftentimes are unsatisfied with what God has given us because we're chasing artificial happiness. Artificial standards. If only I had this, I'd be happy. If only I had this, I'd be better. If only I had what they had. It's not real. And God has given you what He's given you because He has a calling and He has a purpose for your life. I'm going to read a couple of verses. This one is on the slide. The next couple are not. But this one is Galatians 6:4. And it says this: make a careful exploration of who you are and the works you have been given. Then sink yourself into that. Don't be impressed with yourself, and don't compare yourself with others. Each of you must take responsibility for doing the creative best that you can with your own life. A couple things I just want to point out. For the works that you have been given, and don't compare yourself with others, and you must take responsibility for the creative best that you can do with your own life. Same verse, different translation. Pay careful attention to your own work, for then you will get satisfaction of the job well done, and you won't need to compare yourself to anyone else, for we are all responsible for our own conduct. Hebrews 12, 1 through 2 says this. This is actually a really well-known verse, and you guys are going to know this, but I'm going to put it in a little bit of a different perspective for you. Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. This should be on your U version if you're following along. Therefore, since we're surrounded by a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus, right? We do this by keeping our eyes fixed on him, because guys, God has called you. He's given you all the resources that you need to accomplish the calling that he has called you. He's put you on the platform that he's put you on because he's going to do something cool with your life. But just fix your eyes on him and stay in your lane running, because if you're running a race, right, one of the easiest ways to wreck something that God is doing in your life is by comparing it to something else. If you are running a race and you're keeping your eyes on God, and all of a sudden you're like, I wonder how they're doing, right? And you took your eyes off of your target. And it's so easy for you to run out of your lane. It's so easy for you to get tripped up on stuff if your eyes are not fixed on what God has called you to do. If your eyes are not fixed on Jesus. So keep running your race. Man, how much better would I do if I was on the inside of that circle thing, right? Or what if I was on the lane next to? Run your race. Run your race. Do the best you can do with what God has given you. Fix your eyes on Jesus. All right. Next one I wanted to talk about is 1 Corinthians 12:12. It says this. This is a New Living Translation, by the way. The human body has many parts, but the many parts make up one whole body. So it is with the whole body of Christ. Some of us are Jews, some of us are Gentiles, some of us are slaves, some of us are free. But we have all been baptized into one body by one Spirit, and we all share that same Spirit. Yes, the body has many different parts, not just one part. If a foot says, I am not part of the body because I am not a hand, does that make it any less part of the body? And if an ear says that I am not part of the body because I am not an eye, would that make it any less part of the body? And if the whole body were an eye, that'd be so weird. How would it hear? Or if your whole body was an ear, how would you smell anything? But our bodies have many parts, and God has put each part just where he wants it. He put you just where he wants you. How strange would a body if it only had one part? Exclamation point. Yes, there are many parts, but only one body. The eye can never say to the hand, I don't need you. The head can never say to the feet, I don't need you. In the fact, some parts of the body that seem the weakest and least important are actually the most necessary. I'm going to skip down to verse 26. It says, if one part suffers, all the parts suffer with it. And if one part is honored, all the parts are glad. All of you together are Christ's body, and each of you is a part of it. And I love this so much, because it just really, wow, that's a way better illustration than what I used. Well, maybe I shouldn't compare. Using, it really is. Like, the screwdriver lose its value because the hammer is valuable in a different area? No, right? They both belong in the toolbox because they both are very useful and complement each other. There's times you can even get creative to use the screwdriver and the hammer together. But this is the point that I wanted to make. Whatever part you are, it doesn't matter. The question isn't whether you're a hand, whether you're a foot, whether you're an eye, whether you're a nose. The truth is that wherever you're at, wherever God has placed you, that you are very, 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 very important to the whole body. And this is really, This is really important. That it's not comparing the two to each other. But the thing that's important in trying to say this in a way that comes out right, but nobody else can be a better you than you. You're the best you out of everyone. No one is a better you than you. No one can take that. Someone else's success is not your failure, because they're running a different race. Good for them. You should applaud them. You should encourage them. That's good, because when one part of the body is joyful, right? It says the whole body does that. When one part of the body suffers, the whole body feels it. You guys know that probably when you've ever stubbed your toe, a little pinky toe. That didn't seem that important, right? The whole body feels it, right? And the whole neighborhood hears it, because I yell when I hit. But that's... So what's the builder, right? You've been talking a lot about this killer, this what to avoid, but what is the builder? And the builder that I wanted to talk about was this. The killer is comparing yourself to somebody else, but the builder is this, examining yourself. Are you being the best you that you can be? Does that sound confusing? Here, Harrison, I'll have you come up here real quick, Harrison. I don't think this is going to add anything, but then I at least got you up here. Okay. Nobody can be a better Harrison than Harrison. There's no comparison to Harrison, okay? That worked out really well. There's no comparison. No one can be a better Harrison than Harrison. Nobody can win Harrison's race that God has placed on him. No one can do your calling better than you, because God called you. No one can win your race, and no one can be a better you than you. Let's clap, man. No comparison to Harrison. You can sit down. Yeah, like I said, I didn't add anything, but it was fun. So, when we examine ourselves and we strive to be the best that we can be with what God has given us to be, then you make all of us better. When you get better, when you improve, and when you read your Bible, when you begin to get closer to God, guess what? That benefits not only you in your circle of influence, but that benefits the whole entire church. The whole entire body gets better when you get better. So it doesn't matter if you're an ear, foot, eye, hammer, whatever you are, just be the best of what God has given you. No one else can win your race. I got a couple of questions that I want to close with. We do these application cards every week, and I think that's awesome, Pastor Craig. I think that having the knowledge is great, but then learning how to apply it and how to break it down and talk, with ourselves and with groups is awesome. So this is kind of a personal one that you could do yourself, but also, after we leave this place, if you want to, get together and go over these together, it would be awesome too. But here's the first question: what race has God called you to run? Galatians, we talked about this same thing. What has God called you to work, right? Sink into that. Work on that. But what race has God called you to be? What body part has God called you to be? Be that, right? Next question. Are my eyes on my own lane? We used this before. When we're running a race, and my eyes are focused on somebody else, what they're doing, that's a lot worse than texting and driving, which is so bad. Don't do that. But that can totally take you off course, take you to a totally different destination than what you were originally running. Fix your eyes on Jesus. Keep your eyes on your own lane and run with endurance. Last question, I believe. How can I run my race better? How can I be a better me? Like I said, there's no comparison. No one else that can do this better, but I should give it my all. I should give it my all. Be the best me that I can be. And how can I run my race better? I want to pray out with you guys and pray over with you guys. Is that all right? Like someone's going to say no. Absolutely. Scott's like, no. All right, there you go. God, we love you so much. We're so thankful for everything that you have done for us. And God, sometimes it's so easy for us to just not appreciate it. You have given us such awesome opportunities and platforms and abilities and skills and all of these different things, but sometimes we can overlook that and think that it's greener on the other side. God, help us to not compare ourselves and what we have to other people, but to be able to embrace the full resources that you have given us. God, I pray that you continue to build up this church, each body part at a time. And God, I pray that we can fix our eyes on you. God, that we can be secured and anchored in you, running our race with endurance towards you. God, I'm sorry I fall into temptation. Sometimes I fall short. And when we're running a race, it says in Hebrews that we should throw off all temptation and sin that so easily entangles us and fix our eyes on you. God, if there's anything at all that's holding us back from running our race better, from being a better us, God, I pray that you begin to reveal that to us. God, I pray that you help us to be able to examine ourselves, and even beyond our own human ability, God, I pray that you will just begin to search us. And if there's anything that's unpleasing to you, God, bring it forth to us. God, I pray we can be a church that continues to support one another. God, that when one of us suffers and going through a difficult situation, the rest of the body is there to care for. I love you so much. You are so awesome. In your name we pray. Amen. So I've asked Rich to strum a song, and I kind of want to give you guys an opportunity that if you have any questions or if you want prayer or there's anything like that, then I'm going to be up here and praying over you guys and answering any questions that maybe I didn't communicate fully. Or if you just like to stay in this room and just worship God, you're also okay to do that. But anybody else, if you'd like to slip out and be dismissed, I just ask that you do it quietly. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome.